What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode number 25 of the Diego College Football Show. And what an episode we have in store. A lot to cover. We had a Thanksgiving full slate, Black Friday game. We had a full weekend of college football, rivalry week, week 13 in the NFL. A lot of upsets. It was the week of the underdogs, it seemed like. A lot to cover. And we'll start on Thanksgiving with the Green Bay Packers taking down the Detroit Lions 31-24. A massive game for both teams and a huge win for the Packers and a really bad loss for the Lions, who also suffered another blow, some bad news, which we'll talk about in a second. But this was an impressive game from Jordan Love and the Packers. I thought that's what I came away with in this game. Love threw for 4 touchdown passes, and he's only 18 to 30 to 230 yards. We didn't turn the ball over, made big throws when it mattered, and delivered for his team. The Packers were kind of feel like in control of this game for the most part, and the offense made plays when they had to, and the defense showed up and made plays when they had to as well. It was complimentary football on both sides, and this kind of the tail of this game was those big downs again for the Detroit Lions. They could not convert on the big money downs that decide games. They were over 2 on fourth downs, and they were pretty efficient on third downs. They're 8 of 13, but those 2 fourth down turnovers both happened in the second half. The first drive of the second half is a 7-play drive, 17 yards, and it's 4th and 3 at the Green Bay 47, and you hand it to Jahmyr Gibbs. And this was a down and distance where you ran the ball 4 times in a row. You got 4 yards Gibbs, 4 yards Gibbs, negative 1 yard Gibbs to make it 4th and 3, and you run it on 4th and 3, which is a little bit interesting to me. That garnered a lot of attention on social media rightfully so. And then the next one was the start of the fourth quarter when you're down 31-20, when you're down 10 points, and 4th and 3 again at the Green Bay 21. And a field goal there makes it a one-possession game, a touchdown, obviously. And there's still 10 minutes to go in the game. And, I mean, I get the aggressiveness with Dan Campbell. That's kind of what that's what he does. That's his identity. But I think at some point you have to take the points in a situation where you want to trust your defense. Your defense ends up getting a 3 and out. And it doesn't even matter because you're still down 10. You have to score again. Your defense, which, I mean, you got to be honest, it didn't have much success all day. I mean, they only forced 2 punts, 1 in the first quarter, 1 in that fourth quarter. But I think when you have a chance to make it a one-score game with a lot of time left, it's not like this. If there's 5 minutes left, I think my tone changes a little bit. But with plenty of time to go down and score and get that touchdown later, even if you hold him to 3, I think that's a situation where he has to learn when to kick the ball. And this isn't a Lions team that is killers on big downs as they have been in the past. And I'm all for aggressiveness. I love the aggressive play all around. But he has to know when to bite his tongue, I think. He's stubborn. And this is his 3rd game as a play caller, I believe. And after the great start in Washington, it's kind of shown that he has an ability to execute the offense. Dan Campbell does when calling it. But it's that they just aren't clicking, and they don't have those money plays to show up on these big downs, on these big 4th and 3s, and these big 3rd downs. Those are the game-winning plays, and they just have not shown the ability to execute them. They're struggling to run the ball in this game. Gibbs is 20 of 68, 20 carries, 68 yards. Montgomery's 8 for 32. Jameson had a huge day, and that's massive with Amon St. Brown going down with an ankle injury in the first half, I believe. And it looked worse just on first watch, to be honest. It was one of those things his leg got rolled up on, left on. I don't know if he got carted off or if he walked to the locker room, but it did not look good. And he get immediately ruled out for the game. And luckily, it's a low ankle sprain. Probably going to miss a week, they said, but should be back within a game or 2. But Jameson had a massive day. I mean, 10 targets, 7 receptions, 144 yards, 1 touchdown. I loved how they used him in this game. And it just kind of shows you Jameson Williams, he never has to be this only a big play threat. Get the ball in this guy's hands, and he is going to make the play. If you get this guy the ball in the hands with space in front of him, I mean, good things are going to happen. More times that they aren't. Like, there's no reason he shouldn't be a guy getting at least five targets a game, 5 receptions a game at minimum. But the Packers did a great job in this game of just kind of limiting limiting Gibbs, limiting this rushing attack. I mean, Goff was efficient. If you look at it, he's 20 26, 256 yards, 2 touchdowns. But they stopped what the Lions kill teams with, which is their run game. They didn't let Gibbs kill them. And I think that's a big recipe for success. It obviously helps not having Amon-Ra out there, and obviously no Laporta. So this is just, I mean, looking at these guys that caught passes in this game, it's a banged up receiving room. I mean, Jameson Williams was 7 for 144. Tom Kennedy was 4 for 36. And Tesla has a nice catch, 2 for 35. But other than that, I mean, then you have Gibbs and Montgomery with 3 and 2 respectively. Firkser has 1 catch, Ross Dwelley has 1 catch, and then Noah Monner, obviously. So I think the Packers defense had a great game plan. They showed up in the big downs when it matters most, and they sold out to stopping the run and made kind of the Lions have to beat them through the air, which they had success, but they didn't get killed by it. That was a great game plan by Jeff Hapley, the Packers offensive coordinator. On the Packers offensive side, I mean, this kind of showed you the potential that these guys have. There's no reason this team has such stark highs and such low lows. This is a game that there's no reason Matt LaFleur can't call this game more consistently. There's no reason Jordan Love can't go up on big plays consistent like this and have these 4 touchdown passes. I don't need the efficiency doesn't always have to be there with him, especially with the way this scheme is set up. 18 of 30 is perfectly fine. Threw for 4 touchdowns, made the deep plays to his receivers when it mattered. I do have to make a little statement about Matt LaFleur. I just hung his praises a little bit. The end of the game, I think he was bailed out by his receiver. Montavion Wicks, we have to talk about, had a career day. 6 receptions, 94 yards, 2 touchdowns on 7 targets. Watson was big, 4 receptions, 80 yards, 1 touchdown on 10 targets. But at the end of the game, they get into a scenario where the Packers they have 4th and 3 at the Detroit 45. And they had just threw it on 3rd down, so Detroit had 1 timeout left, and they threw it on 3rd down, so they did not make them have to use it. And it was incomplete, whatever. 3rd and 3. When I saw this, I was like, "This is a spot where I think you can run the football." They decided not to. You get into a 4th and 3 at the 50-yard line when you're facing the explosive Lions offense, had success through the air today. If you give this up, I mean, you gotta think you're going overtime. And Love dropped back, he had pressure in his face, and he kinda just it's you see this play a lot with Jordan Love. He kinda just flicks it up, and he's retreating, throws off his back foot, and Dontavion Wicks comes down with an amazing catch to kind of save his head coach and his quarterback, because I think if they were to get stopped there and get into a situation where the Lions do get the ball back and go score, then they have momentum at home going into overtime, and they end up losing that game. LaFleur's seat, who was already kinda hot before this game, just being honest, it gets a little hotter and it gets a little warm underneath, and there's gonna be some uncomfortable conversations. I'm not saying he's gonna get fired, but the pressure would have been a little bit more on if you lose a division game like that with being over aggressive, going away from the ground game with Jacobs, which had success on the day. He ran for 80 yards, 17 carries. He was efficient. There would have been some heat there, and Wicks made a hell of a play. He was the player of the game for me to kind of bail him out of that situation. So shout out to the Packers, massive win on the road, and on the Lions, they're sitting at 7-5 and on the outside looking in at the playoffs, which is not something we expected this year. And they come up on a mammoth matchup, hosting the Dallas Cowboys, who we'll get to next, arguably one of the hottest teams in football. So big matchup for them coming up on Thursday night. Packers get a huge, huge divisional win that they needed badly, and they got a matchup against the Bears this Sunday. So 2 big matchups for both these teams in the NFC North coming up this week, and really excited for both of them. Let's get on to the next game. On to the next game of Thanksgiving. The Dallas Cowboys take down the Kansas City Chiefs, move the Cowboys to 6-5-1. The Chiefs go to 6-6, 1-5 record on the road. A disaster game for the Chiefs. And for the Cowboys' point of view, a must-win game that kind of just showed you can beat any team. This was a game that going into it, I said that the Cowboys were gonna have to score points and get into a shootout, because this is the Chiefs offense that struggled the week before, just played an overtime game on defense. Defense came out with a lot of stops in that 4th quarter, but that adds up, and it's a short week against really high-powered Dallas offense, and I mean, that's exactly what it was. This was a CeeDee Lamb game. It was a George Pickens game. Just looking at these, I mean, Lamb was 7 for 112 on a touchdown. Pickens was 6 for 88. Pickens is his slant route is the most unguardable thing I've seen in a while. I don't know why. It's every time they need a big play, it's just pick and slant. 3rd and short, pick and slant. 4th and short, pick and slant. The last play of the game, effectively for the Cowboys to clinch it, they go to a slant on 3rd and 3, I believe it was, to pretty much put it away. Yeah, it was 3rd and 2 at the 40, and then they had the 2-minute warning after that, so they needed a first down. They didn't hand the ball to Javonte Williams. They threw George Pickens a slant, and the amount of separation he's able to get on that route it's unguardable. And Lamb had a rough week last week against the Eagles, had a few big drops, bounces back in this one in a big way. 112 receiving yards, had a long of 51 on 9 targets. I thought Dak was really, really locked in. He had that interception early in the game, but he he played well overall. I mean, he did his job. He was getting the ball to his playmakers. And there's times when the Cowboys play when he feels like he's missing throws a little bit and he's just kind of out of rhythm. And that was not this game. This is a big game where he showed up at home, Thanksgiving, massive spotlight, and he did exactly his job. On the Chiefs side of things, this is just another one of those games that in the past, the Chiefs would win. The Chiefs would win this game, and they did not find a way to. And they got themselves ahead early. I mean, they picked off Dak on the third play of the game. They go down and scored 7-0. And from then on, it was just kind of back and forth on the offensive side. Both teams scoring. They end up going into the half down 3, which if you would have told them that for the first few drives, I mean, you would have thought something went ridiculously wrong, and it didn't really. It was just kind of the offense couldn't really get back in rhythm after they were gifted that first touchdown drive, scored again on the next drive, and I think they have 2 punts in the second quarter, 2 more punts in the third quarter. So from that last drive in the first quarter, when they score that touchdown and go up 14-7, they have 4 straight punting drives. And in the fourth quarter, again, they try to make this heroic comeback, and they score. They may go up 1, go down 7 again, 3-and-out punt. Dallas takes a 10-point lead, and they get the touchdown, but it's not enough because the defense is not able to get off the field against this explosive Cowboys offense. And now they're in a spot where they got to win out. They got to win out, and that doesn't even guarantee them getting it. I mean, if they win out, I think they'd have to be in the playoffs at 11-6, but there's no guarantees anymore. They have to win every game and hope that something's fallen into place. And it starts next week against the Texans on Sunday Night Football, which is going to be an absolute barn burner. 2 teams that need a win. Texans are hot right now. We'll talk about their game a little later. They're a big win over the Colts, but every game is a must win. You got Texans, Chargers, Titans, Broncos, Raiders, and it's getting down to it right now. We're getting down to towards the end of the season, and these are big divisional games. These are massive games with big implications on both sides of the ball. They got the Broncos on Christmas. That's going to be a massive one, depending on where things stand in the division. And probably not going to be for the divisional spot, but if the Broncos have a chance to knock the Chiefs out of the playoffs, you think they're not going to get up for that one? And on the Dallas side, I mean, we got the Detroit Lions are coming up here on Thursday night, back-to-back Thursday night games for both those teams. Talk about it, 2 teams that need a win, 2 teams that are in different spots. Lions vibes are low. Just talked about that loss that they had to Green Bay. And Dallas, it feels like no one can stop that offense right now. And Dallas is going in this game as underdogs, hitting that plus 140, over-under sitting at 54.5. Or now Vegas thinks it's going to be a shootout, which I don't see why it wouldn't be as of now, but we're not previewing that currently. But just a hell of a win by the Cowboys, a team that was dead a few weeks ago, it felt like. After that loss to the Cardinals on Monday Night Football, I didn't really see much of an upside with this team. And Jerry makes a trade for Quinnen Williams. Dak figures things out. CD and George kind of just get going at the same time. They each had their respectable games, but they each have gotten into a rhythm. And this is not a team you want to run into. They got the Lions, Vikings, Chargers, Commanders, Giants. If they can get through the Lions, these are favorable games that they can win all going through the rest of the way. So they're 1 week at a time, but that tie is going to actually end up working out well for them when it comes to tiebreaker scenarios, because them sitting at 6-5-1 rather than being at 6-6 sounds a lot better, looks a lot better, and eliminates a bunch of those wacky like divisional point differential tiebreakers because of having that tie that they took to Green Bay earlier in the season. On the last game of Thanksgiving, Baltimore Ravens lose to the Cincinnati Bengals at home. Embarrassing performance by the Baltimore Ravens, in my opinion. The Bengals win 32-14, go into Baltimore on Thanksgiving, and Joe Burrow's return. And this was one of the most disgusting games I've seen Lamar Jackson play. They had 5 turnovers on the offensive side of the ball, 1 interception, 2 lost fumbles from Lamar, 1 lost fumble from Likely, 1 lost fumble from Zay Flowers. They had 6 overall turnovers. And the Bengals turned the ball over once. P. Ryan had a fumble towards the end of the game. They win the turnover battle by 4. This is just you're not going to win a game like this. And the Ravens going into this game, you're just looking at, they've won 5 in a row. They kind of wrote the ship after the 1-5 start. But these were ugly wins, and it kind of felt like they just weren't playing good football, and it was due to catch up to them. And they catch Burrow in his return game, coming into their house, and this should be a chance to keep your momentum going. And they never once looked like they were going to seize that opportunity. There was not a moment in this game. from the second it started, where I was like, okay, the Ravens are here to play right now. The Bengals drove down kind of easily, went up 3-0, and the Ravens did go down and score. They went up 7-3, and they was like, okay, Bengals got to bounce back here, and they get stopped on the 3-and-out, and it's like, okay, the Ravens kind of take over this game, and then it turned into a little bit of a slog because Lamar loses a fumble. The Bengals get the ball on the 2-yard line, and what was some crazy malpractice, in my opinion, by Zach Taylor. They don't gain a single yard, incomplete pass, 0-yard run, incompletion. I don't care who your quarterback is. If you're getting the ball on the 2-yard line, you got to run the ball more than one time. You can't just hand it off one time from the shotgun and kind of give up on that. But they forced the 3-and-out, and the Bengals get on the field, and it's 6-7. And it's kind of like the Bengals are hanging around. What are the Ravens going to do? How are they going to respond? And Lamar throws a great ball to Isaiah Likely, who gets the ball punched out from behind him into a touchback. And this was just the turnovers in this game where they weren't just bad, they were weird. It was like, what is going on right now? Because that happens, the Bengals get 3, and it goes into halftime, and it's a 12-7 game. The Bengals have had 4 field goals. The Ravens have not yet to do anything because they had another fumble late in that drive, Lamar on the first play of a drive. And they're in the game, and they get the ball at the half, 3-and-out. Bengals score, Ravens score, so it's 19-14. And the Bengals score a touchdown, go at 26-14. Lamar throws a pick, and that's what kind of wrapped it up. But he was just sloppy with the ball. I don't know if he's not healthy. I don't know what. There's no real excuse for it either way, but this is not the Lamar Jackson that we have come to expect to see. He's turning the ball over. He's inaccurate across the middle of the field. They can't get Zay Flowers involved. Zay Flowers has 7 targets for 2 catches and 6 yards. Got a little unlucky in that one push off the end zone, but this just isn't sustainable. And I don't know who's going to win the this division. I quite frankly have no idea because the Bengals are 6-6. The Steelers are 6. The Ravens are 6-6. The Bengals are 6-6. Both these teams just look uninspiring right now. And you got the Bengals at 4-8 now. They're all of a sudden only 2 games back. Browns are at 3-9. They're out of it. But with 2 teams that are slogging, and the Bengals got an injection of energy with Joe Burrow, they got to win every game. But it's not like there's these horses running out in front of them at the top of the division. It's wide open somehow, which is a crazy, crazy thing to say. And the Ravens have the Steelers this week, so one of those guys is going to lose. One of them is going to go to 6-7. The other go to 7-6. But whoever wins that game, it doesn't really change. But the Ravens have the Bengals again the week after that. So the division's wide open. The division is anyone's for the taking. And the Bengals go to Buffalo this week. That's going to be kind of the decider, in my opinion, because if you get through that, you have the Ravens again, Dolphins, Cardinals, Browns. If you get through Buffalo, you're in a real scenario where you can sneak in and make some noise. But yeah, it was a weird one. You could kind of tell Burrow had some rust, which is very, very reasonable. He had that turf toe injury in week 2. He kind of rushed back as fast as he could because the team was in a rough spot, sitting at 3-8, and he was doing anything he could to get back on the field. So in that first half, he was missing guys. He was taking his shots on the field, but he wasn't really connecting with Chase, and no Higgins too as well. He was throwing to Mitchell Tinsley a lot. A lot of opportunities to make something happen, didn't really, but towards the end of the game, it was kind of that vintage Joe Burrow. He was making stuff happen with his legs. He was not trying to be he was being a little cautious on that foot. But when he had to extend the play a little longer, deliver to his guy, he did exactly that. And a Joe Burrow-led offense is a dangerous offense. I don't care who you're playing. I don't care who it is. It's a dangerous offense and a dangerous team to run into. So you do not want to see this Bengals team if they do happen to sneak in, because sneakily, this defense is playing a lot better. This was one of the worst defenses in the entire league to start the season. And these last 2 weeks, they've been playing decent, serviceable football. That Patriots game, they put them in a position to win the game. Flacco plays a pretty poor game, and they lose it. But that was not a defensive loss. And this week, they held the Ravens to 14 points, aided by turnovers, but they held them to 14 points. And if they can play serviceable ball, that offense can win you any game. So that division is going to come down the wire, in my opinion. And it's going to be a 9-8 team that ends up sneaking into the playoffs. Up next, Black Friday, the Chicago Bears take down the Philadelphia Eagles 24-15. The Eagles are stunned at home. The Bears were 7-point favorite road dogs going into Philly. And this was a physical, dominating game. It was windy. It was cold. Caleb didn't have his best game. He was inaccurate a lot of times. He missed open people. But this running game, Kyle Monengai, 22 carries, 130 yards, 1 touchdown. DeAndre Swift, 18 carries, 125 yards, 1 touchdown. This is the Ben Johnson model of offense that was sold brought it when they brought him to Chicago. This is exactly what you envision as a Bears fan. To be able to impose your will physically on the defending Super Bowl champs, the team that is in the trenches, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith Jr., Jordan Davis, Zach Bond at linebacker. They push them around. And this shows what investing in your offensive line does. Drew Dahlman at center, Joe Tooney at left guard. They invested in this, brought in the whole new system, and look how it's paying off. Your team's 9-3, a spot that no one thought you were going to be. You're actually sitting at first. You're the first seed in the NFC right now because of the Rams' loss. It's stunning. And the schedule is not easy to end the season, but you have the Packers, Browns, Packers, Niners, Lions. Knock on wood, you're going to make the playoffs. People in your division are kind of faltering, and this week could be the real test. You're going to Green Bay. You're 5.5-point road dogs. No one believes in you. Everyone all year has been saying, "Oh, the Bears have had an easy schedule. That's the only reason they're at this record. They're beating bad teams." You go in and beat the Eagles, and they got to beat the Packers. The Packers have always been their kryptonite, and I don't disagree with that. But every week, they prove more people wrong. And this performance in this game was just kind of a classic Bears game from this year. They forced turnovers on defense, forced a Hurts interception, forced a Hurts fumble. Nashawn Wright forces the fumble in the pile and the tush push, which is just deserved. If they want to fight for the extra yardage when the forward progress is stopped and they expect no punishment, that's not what's going to happen. I thought Dennis Allen had a great game plan. Go around and rip it out. Don't try to push against him. Go rip it out from his arms while he's trying to push forward. Kevin Byard had another interception. He leads the league. Just kind of in the right place at the right time. Hurts is trying to do too much. Hurts was bad. He was really bad. He was 19 for 34, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. A.J. Brown had a good day with 10 for 132. Devontae Smith had 5 for 48. But it's just not consistent, not easy. This is the Chicago Bears defense that is missing all of their starting linebackers, and Saquon Barkley only was 13 carries for 56 yards. That can't happen. I thought a really maybe not underrated, but the addition of Kyler Gordon and Jalen Johnson being back at corner for the Bears was massive. There was multiple times in this game where it's a big down and they're blanket covered on their guys, and Kyler Gordon's kind of moving around the nickel. He's blitzing Hurts. He's getting after him and just making it uncomfortable. And Jalen Johnson, there's a few times he was guarding Goddard over the middle, just blanketing him in coverage. To have those two guys, and you can have Gordon play the slot, and you can have Nashawn Wright be on the outside making plays. I mean, he gets beat, but he's forcing turnovers. That's all you can ask for if a guy's getting beat. Are you giving us something in return on the other side of the ball? And that's exactly what he's doing. I love watching the Bears. I'm excited for this Sunday against the Packers. The Packers have shown that they're a very high and low type team. So I expect that to be a game, a divisional battle. Ben Johnson's going to get up for that one. You know he's going to have some stuff up his sleeve. And I don't think Caleb's going to have 2 bad weeks in a row. He's kind of shown that he's been able to bounce back at all times he's battled through adversity this year. And even during this game, I thought he was unlucky a few times. There's a few third down plays where he's trying to go over the middle and just people lose their footing, and it looks like it would have been a good throw and ends up just looking like a big miss and an oversight, but it's really not. It's just kind of some of that stuff's not on him. The interception was unlucky. It was a point in the game where I thought the momentum really could have shifted because it was the end of the third quarter. Bears are up 1, and they get the ball back after the Eagles score, and they get a few things going. It's for 1st and 10. You get to 2nd and 1. They're trying to throw a screen, and Hunt makes a great play. He bats the ball up, tips it, intercepts the pass, and it felt like that's when the momentum could have shifted and the Eagles could have really locked in, and that's when Nashawn Wright forced the fumble, and a huge momentum-shifting play for Chicago that ends up making them go up 8, force up 3 and out, and going to score to put the game away at 24-9. So massive win for the Bears. On the Eagles side, I don't really know what to do with the Philadelphia Eagles. This team has shown that they're inconsistent. Patullo's a bad OC. Sirianni doesn't really have control of the locker room. It's not even all on the coaches because Jalen Hurts is not executing. There was a few plays in the game where the announcer was like, "Oh, looks like it got tipped," and it just spikes. It wasn't tipped. It just misses him by 5 yards short. Like that can't happen. It's bad quarterback play. inconsistent offense. Saquon's not good. When the line's not playing up to their standard that they were last year, it's a completely different team from last year. It has a completely different identity. And unless something drastic changes, this is not a team that's going to make any noise in the playoffs. Or that if you go in to face the Eagles right now, I don't think people are scared. You're not scared you're going to get overpowered and pushed around. You're not scared of this big, bad defense because this big, bad defense just got pushed around for 4 quarters by Ben Johnson's offensive line. What are you scared of the Eagles right now? The roster's there, the talent's there, but the execution has not been there all year. And you feel confident even if you have to go into Philly to play them in this game. So, hell of a win for the Bears. A big matchup for them this week. On the Bird side, they got the Chargers, kind of a spot hopefully you can get back. I believe it's on Monday Night Football. Chargers, Raiders, Commanders. You have opportunities to relock back in, and that's what they need to, because even if they slog their way to the postseason right now, this isn't a team that anyone's scared to face. On to the Seattle Seahawks. They take down the Minnesota Vikings 26-0 in a thumping, a dominant game that was a frustrating dominant game for some people to watch. That's what some people took from it. Some stuff was frustrating to watch the offensive side of the ball, but when you win an NFL game 26-0, it's hard to have any overlying frustrations just when looking at it, because I mean, the story of the day is the defense. The story of the day is the defense, and there was some positives on the offense side that I will talk about in a second, but you can't not start with the defense. They faced Max Brosmer, and he was 19-30, 126 yards, 4 interceptions, sacked 4 times. He was in over his head, quite honestly. And there's a lot of talk, me personally, I was a little scared of Brosmer. I thought he was going to let it fly to his guys, bring this more of a threat as the backup quarterback in the game, and that is not really what happened. From the second the game started, you kind of just tell how he was missing guys. He had a few open guys in the first few possessions, and he was quite honestly just missing them. And he was flustered in the pocket. He was moving his feet around a lot. He just looked uncomfortable back there. And it was clear, and it became really, really clear on the 4th and 1 on the goal line, because this game was a slog to start, as the first quarter is filled with 5 punts. Until the Seahawks finally get a field goal, they force another punt. Darnold fumbles on his first drive and on this drive next, and you give him the ball on the 13-yard line, and all of a sudden it's like, are the Seahawks going to be losing 7-3? Like, what are we doing? And it gets to 4th and 1, and the Seattle 4, and Brosner fakes the handoff, rolls right, and he's all the way back at around like the Seahawks 15 or 20. And at this point, it's like, chuck it out of the back of the end zone, throw it away, just get rid of the ball. And he starts to get sacked, and he just underhand throws the ball forward right into Ernest Jones' hand, and he takes it out home for 6. That's when it's like, okay, that's like I don't even know if I call it his welcome to the league moment. It's like, what are you doing? And from that point on, it was pure dominance, because they only get 3 before the half, and it's 13-0. And in the second half, the Vikings possessions went fumble, interception, 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 turnover on downs. 0 punts, but 0 points. A shutout, their first shutout since 2015, I believe. It's hard to shut people out in the NFL. It's very, very hard. And Ernest Jones is the player of the day today. I mean, 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown, 12 tackles. No Seahawks players ever put up these numbers in a game until today. He was special. He was the best player on the field at all times. I mean, another guy I want to look at is DeMarcus Lawrence. DeMarcus Lawrence has been the pickup of the year for the Seahawks. I mean, he was a guy who was kind of coming in. Oh, he's a veteran. He's going to bring some leadership in the locker room. Don't know how much he really has left to give. And he's become an every down, just dominant force in the run game. He had a sack. Leonard Williams had a sack. Drake Thomas had a half sack. 1 TFL. Byron Murphy had a sack. And Nicky Moore had 4 total tackles. Devin Witherspoon had 7 tackles. That was one thing I did notice in the run game today. He was a force. He was all around the place, just hitting people, making them feel him. Uchenna Nwosu had a half sack. Just everyone contributed, and this D-line is so, so deep. As whoever comes in, no matter if it's Brendan Peely, Quinton Bohanna, they're going to come in and wreak havoc in the backfield. And I mean, just looking at the Vikings QBR, Brosmer had a 32.8 QBR, and your QBR, if you spiked the ball every play, would be a 39.6. McCarthy last week had a 34.2, so he was worse than McCarthy, and McCarthy is a guy who's been horrible It was one that you couldn't really there was no way it could get worse from that. I'm trying to think of anyone else on deep. Reek Wallen had an interception where he fumbles on turning the ball over after, and he said that if it was a close game, he would have went down, but he's trying to show off his receiver side. You gotta love that. And it was a great play too. He kind of baited Brosm in. He was playing the outside. Believe he was playing a hitch or a fade on the outside, and he completely comes in and undercuts the seam. Brosman never saw him. Great play by him. He had an interception. Jones had 2, and trying to rack my brain on who had the last one. It was Kobe Bryant. Yeah, Kobe Bryant had one, an overthrow by Brosman. He picks the ball off. Just an all-around effort. It wasn't even Jones was obviously the dominant force in the middle, but everyone contributed. And Ty Okada played. I honestly was not expecting Ty Okada to play in this game. There was some rumors of IR, but he played, recovered a fumble. This is the best defense in the league. This is one of the best defenses we've had in over 10 years, since the LOB era. There was no weak point in this defense, and this is without their starting safety. They're just so deep in so many aspects of it. Because even those guys in the middle linebacking area, that a spot I wouldn't really think we had that much depth in. They come in last week, and Patrick O'Connell has a day, and Tyrese Knight comes in and has a day whenever he has to play. So yeah, Mike McDonald is going to make anyone's life hell. And next week when they play Kirk Cousins, I feel bad for him because he is going to be taking some hits in the pocket next week. On the offensive side of the ball, lackluster, if to put it straight, lackluster. Sam Darnold was 14 to 26, 128 yards. He was sacked 4 times in the first half. He hasn't been sacked more than 3 times all year. Jason had 2 catches for 23 yards. It was a struggle to start. And Brian Flores said during the week he was going to blitz Sam, and damn right he did, because he made him uncomfortable. And Anthony Bradford was a liability out there today. I don't think Abe Lucas had his best day. I don't think the tight ends in the blocking game had their best day. I don't think Callerup had a big miss. Barner had a big miss as well. And this wasn't like a lot of people can put blame on Darnold. I don't think this was a Darnold problem. I think honestly, like, he did a pretty decent job overall of getting rid of the ball or taking a sack instead of forcing it. In that Rams game, a majority of his interceptions were there was someone in his face and he was just forcing a throw because he didn't want to take a sack. In this game, there was times he didn't just bundle up and take it. He kind of scrambled, escaped a little bit, and took a few sacks in those sense of it. But there was also a play when I remember there was pressure in his face right away. He evaded, stepped up in the pocket, and delivered a strike for a first down to Barner, I believe who was reliable in the middle of the field. So I mean, there was a little bit of good, a little bit of the bad there, but I think a lot of it just had to do with the offensive line identifying the front, because it's not like this Seahawks team, it's not like they haven't seen people blitz them. They've picked up the blitz at a decent rate this whole. I mean, Darnold's been the least sacked quarterback in the entire league. They've been able to pick up the blitz, obviously, but no one else plays a Brian Flores defense. Brian Flores is known for just sending the house, disguising the pressures, making you not know where it's going to. You know they're coming, but you don't know where exactly they're coming from. So I'm not too worried in the grand scheme of things. Like, I trust Clint Kubiak to scheme around this and to figure out whatever it was that was bad. But it was just misses, routine misses. I mean, there's one where Nick Callerup's there and I believe he's either helping Barner on a double or he's helping Abe Lucas on a double on the right side of the line. And the guy kind of fakes coming and he drops back, or he drops back and he delayed pressure. And Callerup just goes to the double, doesn't even look at him, lets him run right by him to sack Darnold. And that's a play where he's in the position to block it. He is assigned to blocking that guy, and he kind of just lets him go right by him. Barner got beat on the outside on a play too. Bradford was bad. There's nothing to covering that up. Christian Haynes came in to play him at the end of the game, and I guess they said it was an injury. I don't know. This was probably his worst game of the year, because there's been plays where he has had like a big miss, but in an overall sense of the game, he's played a decent game. In this one, it felt like a lot of the errors were on the right side of the line. There was not many I remember seeing just on watching the TV copy of Zabel and Cross getting beat. It was either a tight end, it was Lucas, it was Bradford. So I don't know what. I trust them to get it fixed up there, and they actually have a good test this week coming up against Atlanta. Or Jeff Ulbricht's going to blitz you. He's not going to be a guy that's going to drop back and let you dink and dunk him to death. On the passing side of things, the JSN thing's fine. I'm not worried about it. With a lot of pressure in his face, it seemed like Darnold, he didn't have time to sit on JSN and wait for him to come open. there was multiple times he was dropping back and he had to just dump off to the first guy he saw. And I feel like there was times I saw JSN about to break open, but there was guys in his face and he was trying to get rid of it. Like that was the game plan. Don't let JSN be too deep. Don't let them take that deep shot. And I mean, the Seahawks, they had a long receiving long of 21 today, and it was to Cody White. He caught a slant and ran for a first down and more. So that was a good play for him. But it was just never really there with the passing offense today. Barner was 4 receptions for 35 yards. Kupp was 3 for 24. But, I mean, it didn't need to be. The Seahawks genuinely could have punted every first down they got the ball, and they would have won the game. Like, quite literally. With the turnovers and even where they got the ball in the term, they could have kicked a field goal. Like, they genuinely did not have to play a single snap of offense today. A bright spot on the offensive side, though, is the running game. Kenneth Walker was 13 carries, 56 yards. Charbonnet was 14 for 52. They were great. They were consistent. Both of them were good. They both got their even carry split. Charbonnet got in the end zone, of course, but it was consistent. I mean, the offensive line could not protect from the blitz today, but in the run game, they were good. There wasn't a lot of big back negatives. It was just consistent, few yards of carry, advance in the sticks, and even when it was kind of that third downs that we weren't converting, there were 6 of 15 on third down, 1 of 1 on fourth, 2 of 10 on third down for the Vikings. Even when we weren't getting it, it wasn't like it was because it was like a 3rd and 20 or 3rd and 15. They were manageable distance. They just weren't converting in the day, and that's going to happen. You're going to have off days. This is a defense that's hard to play against. It's hard to scheme against, especially when you haven't played a defense like them all year. I mean, no one does it like Brian Flores on the defensive side. So I'm not too worried about that. A good test this week against Atlanta, kind of a similar type of thing to hopefully get better against the heavy blitz because they're going to bring the heat. But you got to be happy with the 26-0 win in the NFL. Rest your guys at the end. Drew Lock's in the game at the end. Things went well during the game. So overall, a hell of a win, a hell of a victory. Seahawks defense is the best defense in the entire league. To their NFC West counterparts, the Los Angeles Rams lose to the Carolina Panthers. Who would have expected this? Not me. This was a game going into it, and I was like, the Rams are probably going to beat these guys by a few touchdowns. The Panthers are so uninspiring. They had that loss last week to the Niners where they could barely move the football. A lot of dumb turnovers. Bryce Young, 20-9, and they come out as a completely different team. Bryce Young with his back against the wall, people doubting him. He shows up. 15-20, 206 yards, 3 touchdowns. Delivered when he had to, so a few big 4th down conversions, big 3rd down conversions, and much more of a split backfield. This was a hard power running game by these guys. Chuba Hubbard, 17 carries, 83 yards, a guy who had been kind of shunned out of the backfield the last few weeks. Rico Dowdle, 18 for 58, so Chuba was the more successful on the ground today. Chuba also had 2 receptions, 41 yards. Dowdle had 2 for 21. This was a weird one, a really, really weird one, because Matthew Stafford turned the ball over today. That is something he had not done at all this season. He hadn't thrown a pick since week 2, I believe it was. And he was a guy who he takes care of the football. He's not going to put the ball in harm's way. I believe he was one more touchdown pass from setting the record for most touchdown passes straight without an interception. And the first interception he throws, it was tipped it up. It was kind of batted, kind of fluky, like whatever. I saw it and I was like, all right, that's not on Stafford. The next one to former Seahawk Michael Jackson. I mean, he's late on an out route, a pick 6. He's late going to Puka on an out route. Michael Jackson undercuts it and returns to the house for 6. Like, that's the most uncharacteristic Matthew Stafford play of all time. He doesn't make those mistakes. He's not late going to the outside on a timing throw to the best receiver on his team. That's just not what he's going to do. So that was very, very uncharacteristic. And getting to the end of the game, we'll skip there real quick before I talk about Bryce. The Rams have a chance they're down 3 points with 6 minutes to go, and they go on this long drive. It's like the Rams are either going to score a touchdown or it's going to overtime. And you get to 3rd and 10, and Stafford gets stripped, sacked, fumbled by Derek Brown. Just kind of so uncharacteristic. And I get it's raining. Whatever. There's no excuses. This is a game against a team that you're better than. And Matthew Stafford turned the ball over 3 times and was the reason you lost this game, and now gives the Seahawks the ability to control their own destiny in the NFC West, which is crazy to say. I mean, honestly, you got to be happy with it considering that they're 9-3. I'd hope they have a chance to control their own destiny. But the Rams were gonna have to lose once along the way besides that Hawks game, and the fact that it's out of the way now and you know it's all in front of you and they still have games against the Cardinals, Lions, frisky teams coming up. I mean, anything can happen. This is a huge, huge win for the NFC West besides the Rams. But let me talk about Bryce Young. He was impressive today. Jalen Coker was this reliable target. Tedero McMillan has been a guy who's been his kind of workhorse guy. He's going to feed him. And he had 2 targets today. 1 reception, 43 yards in a massive, massive spot. The Panthers are sitting at 4th and 2. And they're in a spot where they're down at this point. They're losing 28 to 24 in the 4th quarter. 6 minutes to go in the game. 4th and 2. Canales rightfully goes for it. And Bryce Young sits in, waits for T-Mac to come open across the middle, hits him, and T-Mac runs in for the touchdown. It ends up being the go-ahead touchdown. The 2 young guys connecting. I don't know what to make of this team. This team is so high and so low. But they got the Saints and Buccaneers coming up next. The Buccaneers have shown they're very, very beatable. The Saints are beatable. They do have the Seahawks coming up in a few weeks, but that's another division, kind of like the Ravens-Bengals division, that it is anyone's. It is for anyone's taking. Who's going to step up and make plays at the time at the end of the season and go win a division and play for a playoff spot? Something the Panthers haven't done in genuinely years. So great for the Panthers, great for the Seahawks. Happy the Panthers clutched up there for them. Up next, Niners-Browns. A really, really rough game for our boy Shedeur. And I don't know how much it was on him. I got to give props to the Niners defense. I picked the Browns in this game because I thought and I'll give some props to Brock Purdy. I'll start with Brock because I picked the Browns in this game because I thought that Brock Purdy facing this really, really good Browns defense, one of the best in the league, had all these turnovers last week. I thought that that's a recipe for disaster. And to Brock's credit, he took care of the football. 0 turnovers. It wasn't pretty. He didn't have the most outstanding stat padded day, but he did his job and didn't turn the ball over against a team that has a struggling offense. You can't give a team like that short fields, and that's not what he did. He was 16 and 29, 170 yards and a touchdown on the air. He ran a touchdown in on the ground on a big 3rd down, I believe, a little read option. He found Kittle in big spots. Kittle was 4 for 67. Jawan was 4 for 39 and a touchdown. Juszczyk, big first play of the game, 2 for 27. It wasn't even a McCaffrey workhorse game, and McCaffrey had 20 carries for 53 yards and a touchdown. Also had 4 receptions for 21 yards. So in that sense, only 24 touches. That's kind of low for him. But Brock did what he had to do. He took care of the ball. He made throws on big 3rd downs. There was multiple times the Browns had him to 3rd and longs, 3rd and mediums, and they couldn't get off the field. And that was kind of the difference. And on the Browns side, Shedeur struggled. He didn't throw any interceptions, but he 16 to 25, 150 yards, 1 touchdown. They had some just procedural things that really killed him. Harold Fannin Jr., they have a 4th and 1 early in the game, and they're trying to go tush push, and Fannin just fumbles the snap, and it's like, hey, you gave them the ball in the red zone. Or I believe it was close to that. They gave him the ball, or I guess it wasn't in the red. It was on the other opposite side of the field, but that's taking points off the board in a game where you scored 8 points. So just little stuff like that. Very, very sloppy. And I mean, yeah, no, this was what I thought. I was looking at a different one early in the game when they did get stuffed on 4th down. They got stuffed on 4th down multiple times this game. Early in the game, it's Judkins on the opposite 20, on the Niners 20, and they try to go to him and he loses a yard. Then late in the game, the Fannin fumble, you're there on your own 33, and it's 4th and 1 trying to extend a drive. And that's when Fannin drops the snap. You give the Niners the ball, they score a touchdown. All of a sudden, 17-8 instead of it was 10-8 before that. You can't give a team like that a short field. A 9-4 team that wins these close games, you can't give them a short field like that and give points. But Shedeur's going to start next week. He didn't play horrible. He holds on to the ball for too long. Got sacked 3 times for 34 yards. One of them takes him out of field goal range. I mean, it's like 3rd and 15, and it's the NFL. All right, this isn't college where you have all these big plays. Shedeur. This is the NFL where you just get 5 yards and kick a field goal, especially in a game like this, lower scoring game. Throw it away and let your guy have a chance at a field goal. You can't take a 15-yard sack and go all the way out of field goal range. That's just sloppy in my opinion. But on the Browns side, this is a lost season anyway. Just see what you have in Shedeur. He didn't lose you the game today. See if you can build on something next week, in my opinion. Jaguars, Titans. The Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm gonna keep this one brief. I thought this might have been an upset spot for them. They silenced all that. Lawrence played solid. He's 16 to 27, 2 touchdowns, 230. ETN, they didn't really run the ball much, 12 for 28. Kobe Myers had a massive day, 6 for 90, 1 touchdown. Brian Thomas Jr., a little bit disappointed there. He was back from injury. I was hoping maybe some time off would help him reset. 2 for 28 on 3 targets. But just consistent full game of football played by these guys. They didn't let the Titans get any sort of momentum going. Cam was 24 30, 141 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. The Titans lost 2 fumbles, one on the kickoff. Pollard lost another one. Just kind of a Titans game from this year. No real any momentum. No real great red zone snaps. Stupid turnovers. There's a stretch in the second quarter when there's 6 punts and 1 turnover on downs and a field goal by the Jags and then touchdown by the Jags. Just poor offensive football. This is a game they showed on a red zone like 3 times today, and it was only when there's points going on the board. No real action, no real excitement. That's all I have to say there. The Titans are an uninspiring, kind of a lame team to watch, but good for the Jaguars to take care of business. That's what we got to do in the NFL. Texans, Colts. This was my upset spot of the day. I said it last week. I like the Texans in this game, and they delivered. And they made it a lot sweatier than it had to be, but they delivered, and they are hot. And now they're all of a sudden only 1 game back of the Indianapolis Colts, who started the season so hot. Texans started so down. Davis Mills gives them a little bit of life, and they win this huge divisional game on the road. And it was kind of led by their defense. This is the Texans defense that's going to keep you in every single game. Every single game. And Stroud had a really dumb interception, I thought. It was in the second quarter when you're up 3-0. They stuffed the Colts on downs. Another situation where they're trying to go tush push and they can't go Jones because of his broken femur, I believe it is, like slightly stress fracture. They can't let him go tush push. So they try to go Warren in there, and Warren drops the snap, and you stop him. It's 3-0, have a chance to control momentum, and Stroud throws a pick on the first play of the drive. And the Colts end up scoring at 6-3. Texans score. Go into halftime up 10-6. But it was just a thing where that could have been a big momentum shifter for the Texans in a bad way. And they came out of in this third quarter, though, and I got to give it to them. They didn't get to 7, but they had a long drive to take some time off the clock and go up 7 points. 14 play, 48 yards, 8-minute drive. Yeah, that's what you want to see if you're DeMeco Ryans' team. Let your defense get some rest. Keep your offense on the field, beating up on these guys, and get points. Just get points because your defense is going to pick you up for the most part. The Colts do end up scoring there, tie the game, and CJ Stroud delivers on this drive to go down and take the lead at 20-3, and that's kind of what not ended the game, but he puts you up 7 with 12 minutes to go. Nico Collins, I thought it was a great play call, little end around for 7 yards for the touchdown. And towards the end of the game, this is when things got a little interesting because the Colts go down, kick a field goal, and the Texans get the ball with a chance to kind of put the game away, to absolutely put the game away. And this is just classic Texans. This is what's going to come back to bite them in the sense of at the end of the year. They get to 2nd and 1 with 5 minutes to go. 2nd and 1. 9-yard run on first down, 2nd and 1. Woody Marks gets stuffed. And then they try to go tush push, get stuffed. They try to go tush push again. They got stuffed 2 times in a row on the tush push to their tight end, Cade Stover. You had to get 1 yard in 3 plays and you couldn't get that. That is a glaring hole in your game and your game plan. And it's not necessarily going to change. I mean, they just got to be able to find scheme ways to get that yard, because if you're not going to be able to ground and pound, tough it out, out of 1 out of 3 plays, you have to get Q. I mean, I'm a big proponent of just running the football, putting your head down, but 3 plays in a row stuffed with one, you couldn't get a single yard is bad. And that is something, it almost came back to bite them today because the Colts got the ball back and they were moving down the field and they got to 2nd and 9 and incompletion. They brought heat. DeMeco Ryans brought heat. The defense shows up again and not bails out the offense because the offense did its job today, but I mean, this is a team that's going to live and die in the back of that defense. Laster so good. Petrie so good. Stingley so good. Alshire got hurt today. I'm not sure if he came back in, but it's a studly team. And on the Colts side, last few weeks, they've kind of came down to earth. Taylor's had some good games, but not great games. He's 21 for 85 today. Wasn't able to find that explosive run. Had a long of 12. And Jones had a solid day. I mean, he didn't turn the ball over. And the one thing I was kind of looking for is, can he stay out of these turnovers in these big games, and he did. He found Pierce in big spots, had a great throw for him for a touchdown for 22 yards. Pierce had 80 yards receiving, 4 receptions, 1 touchdown. But other than that, it was not really any explosiveness. Tyler Warren kind of schemed out of the game plan today, 3 for 22. This was always going to be a defensive battle, but you got to be disappointed if you're a Colts fan because this was a massive spot for you. It was a game that was very, very winnable, and they let it slip out of their hands. Up next, Saints Dolphins. Gonna keep this quick here as well. Tua Tagovailoa throws an interception, no touchdowns. This was on the backs of Devon Achane. Devon Achane was 22 carries, 134 yards, 1 touchdown. Nothing really through the air for the Dolphins either. I mean, Darren Waller's the leading receiver, 2 for 47. Jalen Waddle, 3 for 40. It was just a low-scoring kind of. It was a game that the Dolphins were in control of the entire way. At halftime, they're up 16-0, and that's when you kind of take an eye off the game. It's like, okay, this game's over. And it was one of those things where there's other finishes going on at the end. You're looking over, and it's like, oh, wait, the Saints are in this. And the Saints actually had a real shot because they make it 8-16 to start the second half. And they get a field goal to 11-19. They end up scoring a touchdown to make it 17-19, and a 2-pointer ties the game. And the infamous 2-point return for a touchdown. Shuck throws the pick. It was a hell of a play to make if Fitzpatrick to undercut it and get those 2 points because those end up being very, very important as it makes a field goal takes the lead to a field goal doesn't do anything. You need a touchdown. And they end up turning them over on downs. And the Dolphins are in a spot where if they win next week against the Jets, they're at 6-7. They're very much in the hunt. I don't know how serious of a contender this team is, how serious they want to be. I mean, they'll be taken in the playoffs, but they're a contender. And that's what I have to say about these guys. Shuckle played a fine game, threw that interception on the thing, threw another interception. Devin Neal played decently, 14 carries, 47 yards with no Kamara out there. Devon Vele had a big day, former Bronco, 8 receptions, 93 yards, a touchdown. Olave, 4 for 47, 1 touchdown. A good win for the Dolphins, and honestly, in the grand scheme of things, if you're a Saints fan, you want to lose that game. You don't. You want to stay at the bottom of that lottery, in my opinion. Up next, Falcons Jets. The Jets. I just like seeing the Jets win the games. They're never pretty. They're always kind of ugly wins, but seeing them win the games, I just enjoy. Tyrod had a fun day. A.D. Mitchell, legacy game for his career, 8 receptions, 102 yards, 1 touchdown on 12 targets. Mason Taylor had two receptions, 21 yards on 4 targets. Mechie had 8 targets, 4 receptions, 19 yards. And Tyrod did exactly what Aaron Glenn brought him in there to do. He got the ball to the young guys they wanted to see. Mitchell, if they can have anything in him, I mean, he was just kind of tossed into the deal as he was wanted out of Indy. Indy wanted out of him. And if he can be a solid second or third receiver on this team in the future, that's a huge win for them. Brees had a touchdown, 19 carries, 68 yards. Tyrod ran for 44 yards, turning back the clock in a touchdown. And the Atlanta Falcons with no first-round pick, lose to the New York Jets with Kyle Pitts putting up 7 receptions, 82 yards. Bijan is 200 all-purpose yards, practically 142 yards rushing, 1 touchdown, 50 yards receiving, 5 receptions. Cousins played fine, but this end of this game was a slog. It was 24-24 with, I believe, 3 minutes to go in the game. And there ended up, each team got the ball 2 times. And that amounted with 3 and outs. That was kind of just the story of these 2 poor offenses. Falcons got the ball 3 and out. They got 1 yard. And they punted back the ball with 1:36 left. And the Jets got it and punted back the ball to Atlanta with 1:06 left. Took 30 seconds off the clock to go 3 and out. And the Falcons got the ball and punted it back to the Jets with 44 seconds to go. So they wasted 22 seconds. There was a total of 59, like 1:30 taken off 3 drives. And the Jets finally get the ball. And Tyra runs for 14 yards, gets him in the field goal range. And Nick Folk makes a 56-yard field goal, almost his career long. He's 41 years old. And the Jets are going crazy. Aaron Glenn's former teammate. That's fun to see in the locker room. Those guys fired up. But just this kind of a shitty game, honestly. I'm happy the Jets won. The Falcons, I don't even know what to think about them. The Seahawks got the Falcons next week in Atlanta. Kirk Cousins is going to have a rough one. He's going to be putting his head on the pillow these next few days. Just seeing Leonard Williams, seeing DeMarcus Lawrence, seeing Nick Eamon. It's gonna be a fun one for Seahawks, and it's not so fun for Atlanta. Last game of the morning slate, Cardinals Bucks. The Arizona Cardinals just keep hanging around, man. They keep not finding ways to win the football game. Jacoby Brissett goes for 300 yards again, 29 to 40, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And Baker has another kind of just lackluster day. He gets 18 for 28, 194 yards, 1 touchdown, sacked twice. Bucky Irving was back, got in the end zone, 17 carries, 61 yards, had a 13-yard touchdown run. And Chris Godwin, he was kind of the best receiver there for Tampa Bay. 80 yards receiving. Emeka only 442. He's kind of just kept on that, not cold streak, but just died down. But this was just kind of a classic Cardinals game this year. McBride had a big day, 8 for 82, 1 touchdown. Marv had 6 for 69 on 7 targets and didn't get in the end zone. Bam Knight got in the end zone on the receiving end, had 11 carries, 62 yards. But this is just, it's stereotypical Cardinals for this entire year. Brissett turns the ball over since he's been here, but he puts up stats. He gets the ball to his guys, and they kind of always go down. They always just hang around. And going into this fourth quarter, it was 10-17 Tampa Bay, and then it makes it 10-20, and Arizona scores, and they get the ball to chance at the end of the game to win it, and Brissett gets stopped on 4th and 2. The game-winning drive attempt is pretty pathetic. They're at their own 9, 3-yard pass, 5-yard pass, incompletion, and an incompletion on 4th and 2. And then it was never, the threat was never really there at the end of the game, but the defense did well. I mean, Jonathan Gannon, he coaches a good defense. They always keep them in every game. They just haven't been able to really pull it really through, and they couldn't get any turnovers today. They lost turnover battle by 2. It's hard to win a game if you're going to lose turnover battle by 2 and be an inferior football team. But I mean, that's what happens. The Cardinals are on a fast track for that. They're trying to get a top 5, top 10 pick. A lot of teams are down in that range right now, though. And if you're going to be a bad team, this is the kind of bad team you want to be. They have young weapons on offense. The shell of the team is there. There's some young guys on defense. Will Johnson's there. The DB room's good. But they just aren't really there to be pushed over the hump, and they kind of need a quarterback away. But you can watch these guys every week and be like, okay, my team is okay. It's not an embarrassing watch. And on the Bucs side, this is a big win considering the Panthers won this game as well. This sets up a massive 2 games with them to end the season. They got the Saints, Falcons, Panthers. And this is a team that's only played 2 divisional games. So that means they have 4 more. And that these are going to decide a lot of things, because that in divisional record won. And just even besides that, these are just big games. And all that division is very, very close. The Falcons are obviously out of it, but those Panthers games are going to be huge. The Saints are fighting. The Falcons can be feisty as well. Those are going to be massive games. And the Bucs have shown that they're not really, this isn't the explosive Bucs offense that we saw the whole first half of the year all the way up until that Niners game. It's completely different. They're winning games, but it's different. On the afternoon slate, Bills Steelers. The Bills are broken, but they found a way today, and I think the Steelers may be more broken. The Steelers are in a worse spot than the Ravens are, in my opinion. Both at 6-6. Both just I'm just down on both of them a lot right now. This first quarter from the Bills was ugly. It was really, really ugly. Josh was a pick on the first drive of the game. Forced 2 punts, but you punt twice as well. It's just to start this game, and then in their first drive of the second quarter, they fumble. And you go down 7-0, you're down 3-7 at halftime. It's like, what is going on? And they come into halftime, they pull their head out of their asses. And they had to do it. They forced a fumble in the first drive, return it for a touchdown on the strip sack of Rodgers. Rodgers then throws a pick, and it was Rudolph, because Rodgers got hurt. Rodgers had the broken, it looked like a broken nose. His nose looked massive. I'm not really sure what it was. He talked after the game. He's throwing his teammates under the bus. He was like, we have these things called film sessions, film reviews. You better know what you're going to do if we're not on the same page. Just kind of a classic Rodgers thing. It goes bad. He blames people around him. And, I mean, from that point, the Bills kind of never looked back. And it was ugly, but they end up winning 26-7. Wasn't pretty at all. Allen Luther for 123. They kind of just rode James Cook. I mean, they've given the ball 33 times, caught the ball 3 times. He's their leading receiver with 3 for 33, and their leading rusher with 32 carries for under 44 yards. He had more carries, or almost as many carries as he did receiving yards, which is just kind of a ridiculous stat. Touched the ball 35 times, 144 yards rushing. Ray Davis had 9 for 62. This was just a powered attack on the ground with 51 rushes for 250 yards. You're always going to be fine with that. And they end up getting out of there. On the Steelers side, this is a bad team. They have failure to run the football. Jalen Warren was 10 carries for 35 yards. Gainwell was 5 for 20. Darnell Washington's your leading receiver, 2 for 45, and that's on like one long reception. DK Metcalf has continued to just kind of disappear in games. Not the guy that you want to pay $30 million for. And the vibes are low. They do their renegade at the start of the fourth quarter. They're getting booed. Like that, I saw a tweet that's never happened. Them getting booed during the renegade. And I mean, yeah, it's just the vibes are low in Pittsburgh. And Mike Tomlin, if there was ever a year that he would be kicked to the curb, I could see it being this year. If you lose a division where 9 wins would have got you in, the classic Mike Tomlin season, you can't really get to that. I could see that being the end for Mike Tomlin. Raiders Chargers, gonna keep it brief here. I hate the Raiders. Geno Smith sucks. Ashton Genty, they can't run the football. It wasn't a Chip Kelly problem. It's just a team personnel problem. Genty was 15 for 31, just nothing. Geno was 18 for 23, 165, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. The interception wasn't really his fault, but still throws a pick. Brock Bowers the only bright spot. That catch he had, that fade where his hand, the back of his hand's on the ground, and he somehow brings it in for the second receiving touchdown of the day. This game was never really close. The Chargers ended up winning by 17. Herbert goes down with that injury. He said he's preparing to play for next Monday night against the Eagles. It's a hand thing. I don't know if they said something was broken. I can check that right now, but that's the last thing you want to see. I got to give this Trey Lance. So Trey Lance came in and he was fine. He like ran the ball kind of effectively. I mean, nothing crazy. He only has 4 carries for 4 yards, but I remember a few read options where he was getting positive gains and nothing explosive on the Chargers side of the ball. But their defense is playing so good against the Raiders that they didn't really have to have any of these explosive plays. Quentin Johnson had a big first touchdown, runs over the guy, kind of just bounces off and he gets in the end zone. Herbert fractures left hand in Sunday's win and will undergo surgery Monday, but it's uncertain if he'll miss any time, so it can't be that serious. If he's going back into the game, it can't be too bad. It has to be kind of a minor fracture, and it's on his non-throwing hand. He was able to come in and take a snap on the game on Sunday. There's nothing to say that he can't do that again. An extra day off too, so that'll be nice. But you want to hope he's back because you do not want to have to lose him. That would be unfortunate for a Chargers fan. So, I mean, that's all I got there. Let's talk about the Sunday night game. I hate the Denver Broncos. That's harsh, but I hate them. They're the most fraudulent 10-2 football team I've ever watched. And I just can't stand watching these guys. Bo Nix, I was starting to give him some credit on my Twitter. Collie Diego. Check it out during games. I've been tweeting a lot recently. I was starting to give him some credit. I was like, Bo Nix has played a good first 2 quarters of this game. Because he did. I thought he looked probably the best he had all season. He looked consistent. He was finding guys open. He was using his legs. He was dumping it off when he needed to, not just every time. And then it gets to the point where, I mean, they're up. They were up. They were up 20-14 and midway through the third quarter. And that's when I tweeted it. And Washington punts. They get the ball back. Chint's kind of put the game away. And he throws one of the worst interceptions I've seen. He throws it right to Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner isn't trying to trick anyone. He's just standing there and he gets the ball thrown right through his face mask. And the defense holds him to 3. And Bo has 3 drives in the fourth quarter to go win the game, go even get a field goal. And he just doesn't. He doesn't find guys open. He checks it down, didn't even feel like they were like threatening to get a first down. And it gave Washington every chance to win this game. I thought the refs hoed the Commanders on that last drive that they didn't have being that field goal. There's just a phantom false start where they said he wasn't set. The replay shows he was set. There's a phantom pass interference, or I believe it was, where they called something on him. Let me find. There's a phantom intentional grounding where when they asked the guy on the broadcast, is this intentional grounding? He goes, no, it's not. He threw it outside the numbers over a guy's head. It doesn't matter how far it is. That's not grounding. And it's not like he was just sitting in the tackle box. He's moving around too. By lay of the law, it's not grounding. And they called it. And Mariota channels Oregon Mariota completes a 19-yard pass and an 8-yard pass to Ertz and sends it to overtime miraculously. And the Broncos scored to start overtime. I mean, Bo played good in overtime. I'll give him that. He bounced back, but he's just so hit or miss, which makes it so frustrating because today showed you it was in him. He has the ability to play like a solid NFL quarterback and make the plays in big moments, and then it can just disappear in the snap of a finger. And he threw the good ball to Ingram. Ingram had a good run after the catch, get all the way down, and Sutton's to the 5, and Harvey runs in. And then this defense, which was on the field the entire fourth quarter due to the offense's inability to score and move the ball, they get to fourth down like 3 times, and they can't get off the field. And they deserve to lose the game. They deserve to lose the game. Mariota made every play he possibly could. He threw it to Ertz. Ertz drops it on 3rd and goal. He hits McLaurin with guys in his face on 4th and goal on a little slant. And the 4th and goal play is open. It's supposed to be a little running back leaking out the left side of the line. And it's there, but Benito makes the play that Nick Benito's going to make. I mean, you got to give props to him. Mariota's probably just going to loft that to the corner. It was the right play call. They read the tendency right. Cliff made the right call. Mariota probably did the right thing. I mean, he's retreating, trying to get rid of it, but Nick Benito just makes the play that you're going to make if you're one of the best pass rushers in the league. So I got to give him props to that, but this team's just so frustrating. I mean, they're sitting at 10-2 now, up top of the AFC, but every week it's like whoever faces these guys in the playoffs, you're going to have to really talk me out of not picking them because, I mean, this defense showed its flaws today. Riley Moss got cooked by Debo on a 4th down at the end of the game where could have ended it. Treylon Burks, I got to give a shout out to him. That was one of the best catches I've ever seen with Riley Moss all over him. That's not a Riley Moss, but just overall, such a frustrating team to watch because the tools are there. The defense is great, but the quarterback play is just a really, really hard to watch. So that's all I got there. I think I'm going to wrap up the show here. I was going to talk college ball. I think I'm going to talk that on Thursday because there's some coaching stuff that's still getting finalized. Can talk about the conference championship games, but the coaching carousel I don't think is really done yet. We'll talk Lane on Thursday. We'll talk kind of just the landscape of what's going on with all this stuff. Is it right? Is it wrong? What needs to change? Preview these conference championship games because they are very, very important. And yeah, back to 2 episodes a week. Thanks for listening. If you made it this far, share your episode with a friend. I'm going to post some listener questions, poll on my Instagram on Wednesday probably, and answer those on Thursday's show. So long episode, good fun episode. Happy with everything I talked about, and I'll see you guys on Thursday.